What's going on, everybody? It's another episode of the D.B.A.B. podcast. It's your boy Curtin back off a couple week hiatus. But don't worry, Jack and Cleet last week held it down for the crew. As always, they did a fantastic
Best show
job.
ever.
In the future, it might just have to be the Jack and Cletus show. They'll just fire the rest of us, and they'll just take it from there because last week's episode was absolute dynamite. But for the viewers, again, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for giving us a listen. Remember and remind you that you can always find the DBAB podcast anywhere podcasts can be found. Um, Apple, Spotify. We also got a YouTube channel, and we're also on Twitter. It's also that time of the year that for 80% of us, we are super busy as we are getting into that football season. Monday, Adam's super busy with logistics too. We can't forget Adam. He's busy in his own right in his own career. So, um, and they have to go out there and battle the heat just like we do with these triple digit heat waves coming through. Um, but like I said, we got football upon us here at my new school at Peaster. We kicked off on Monday. Roosevelt kicked off on Monday.
Monday
Arrow
night,
Monday
morning,
night.
sir.
Pardon?
Midnight Madness.
Midnight Madness.
Dude,
Terrell
that was true with your sleep schedule.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. Midnight Madness.
Dude, that was.
Terrell has started, correct? Or y'all starting?
We started Monday.
I believe y'all started.
We started Monday,
okay.
yeah.
I started Monday. I just know that sometimes with those bigger schools, if you do spring ball, he's usually a week behind or something like that. So, we're all getting into the grind and getting back into our routine and rhythm of stuff. I know we were all super excited for Monday to get here, to kick things off. I know I was super excited Monday. And honestly, to let everybody know, like all summer, like I don't want to say I wasn't happy or thinking about it, but there's so much stuff going on with life and stuff. What I mean? Like, especially when we first get into summer, especially for us as educators, stuff like that, like it's time for us to like have a deload period where we want to get away and go on vacations and have fun and stuff like that. So, and then usually as you get closer to the end of July, you're back into football and you're getting all the excitement. There's some stuff in August that we don't look forward to, or because it's just a waste of time, if you will, with school-related things. But football's back. We're excited for it, and we're all putting in that work, grinding several, 10+ hours a day that we're putting in for the kids, right? We do it every day for the kids. You know what I mean? It's been great. Um, we'll talk about that here in a second about how things are going. We'll get an update from Adam. We can't leave Adam out. How his job, how everything's going down there, and the world of logistics, and how busy they are, and how they're dealing with everything with the heat, and all that good stuff. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, it is the DBAB podcast.
By the way, I like how you took that shot in the beginning of the show where I wasn't going to say anything until after the theme music, by the way.
I'm not taking no shots. I promise. You
it's about to be the Crawford sprint spot all over again. You keep it up, boy.
For the view.
How was that fight? Never watched.
It wasn't a fight.
Oh, wait,
it wasn't a fight. No.
So was Crawford doing his thing?
Crawford. It was a sparring match for Crawford.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, for our listeners and viewers and all that kind of stuff, like I told the boys, I wish I would have started recording like 25 minutes ago because there was some fire being spoken. We had a great story time, really riveting story. It was a lot to begin before we started.
You weren't too busy to listen to that though, right?
That's true. Yeah, that's true. You know what I mean?
Well, it was only 2 minutes of his time, Cleet. I mean, it's more than 2 minutes. We're in the back burner of things.
I know. Just trying to juggle everything has been not tough, but obviously there's not enough time in the day to do everything. So, but, obviously trying to move, finding the place, moving into it. Not even. I'm like 40% of the way of setting up my new place, so there's still boxes and shit everywhere, and things are. Oh, it's just a mess in here.
You're a single man. How much stuff can you have?
Oh, apparently I got too much shit.
One man? How do you create that much crap?
Well, I guess I'm my mother's child, and I just hoard a bunch of shit. I don't realize. I thought I got a lot of I got rid of a lot of it when I left Sealy.
No.
But then when I was unpacking, I realized I did not. So
Yeah. I can tell you right now, we got crap for days here.
So if you ever move again, 2 U-Hauls.
Yeah.
I know a guy.
Yeah. We know a guy. We know a guy. They'll do a great job,
I don't
right?
know
Y'all
about
do
the
moving,
great
Adam?
job.
We do
Y'all
everything.
Y'all do everything? Fuck, I
All
may
right,
to
well.
call y'all then. Shit. Because that's
do
the
everything, man.
one thing I'll
Well,
probably
he don't
do.
discount you, man. He don't give family discounts because he's too busy too.
Well, I'm not family, so I'll be good. He'll discount me.
I might
He
be too
said-
busy to pencil Josh in though.
He goes, Jack, the guy I grew up with. Yeah, F that guy.
F
Cleet?
that guy. He's a jerk.
I kind of
Cleet's
know
all
him. All right, yeah, he's all right.
Cleet's
Let's
all
go.
right. Yeah. Cleet's all right. You know.
Josh won't make the
Yeah.
schedule. I'm too busy.
Wow.
You set yourself up for this, man.
You should not
I
have
know,
said
I know.
anything.
No.
You shouldn't
I
have said
know.
anything. That's where you.
I know,
That's
I
where
should-
you.
You should have left us
I
unread,
was-
Josh.
I know, but I don't like doing that to people. I don't like people leaving
Well-
hanging. I'd rather tell you. I'll try to be honest with it, but I guess I could have worded it differently.
Worded it
Yeah.
differently.
Yeah. Probably.
How my
I agree.
tasks seem to be overwhelming at the moment. I will look for the next opportunity for this podcast to resume.
Yep. And again, I'll apologize. I probably could have done things differently with trying to juggle moving, football, having some new responsibilities.
Let's take a
there,
second
trying to make
and
sure.
let's not bypass what Cleet just pulled out that Whataburger cup.
I didn't even see it.
Is a
Let's not bypass.
Whoa.
Let's not let that slide for a minute.
A homemade cooler,
Dude,
folks.
I could.
if you're not
I
watching
could-
live,
I could
there
not
was a
find
cooler
a
he made
cooler.
out of Whataburger cup.
So I had a water cup with some ice still. So I threw the can in there, so I wouldn't have to go to the refrigerator. Think smarter, not harder. Work smarter, not harder, I guess.
The ingenuity
Fuck
is
yeah.
amazing.
That's
I'm not gonna lie,
a-
that is clever. I just had to point that out.
That's a hey.
glad you
That's
did,
a
'cause I wasn't looking.
That's a UTPB
That's awesome.
UTPB education right there, boys.
That's also being time efficient.
Yes.
That's
If
true.
you're gonna be one thing, be efficient.
That's true.
Well,
Yeah, compared to my old house, I can literally get out of the room, walk down a little bit, and hit the fridge. Here, I got to walk down the stairs, around the corner to the fridge. So it's like I have to come up here
Stairs.
prepared now. So
Stairs.
You almost have to bring like a cooler with you. Just
yeah, absolutely.
You
Like
know.
I'm gonna have to
Just put a
buy,
mini
like,
fridge right behind you.
or a mini
Yeah,
fridge, yeah.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah, mini fridge just put in here. So.
I
But
need
you
to
might
buy a
be too
mini
busy
fridge
for
a
us, so I don't think you'll need that room that
Yeah.
often.
Oh no, I'll just be busy. I'll be busy getting the fridge up here and be busy filling it up, drinking it. So
That's the
I
idea
feel like
nearby.
this is gonna go on.
It's gonna go on.
Oh,
for
it's
a
gonna
little
go
bit.
on for a while.
It's gonna go on
Yeah,
for
it's gonna
at
go
least
on
a
for a
month.
while. But I do.
This is gonna go on as long as Dave and Buster's goes on.
Hey, by the way,
That one
Adam.
didn't last as
Hey,
long,
Adam.
though.
By the way, still there, still shitty. So
Have you been to it?
no.
Okay, then how can you say it's shitty?
Oh,
I've been
here he
to it.
goes.
I've been to a Dave and Buster's.
He's gonna defend Dave and Buster's here.
I'm gonna defend Dave and Buster's. Hey, Dave and Buster's, if you listen, you can sponsor us. We love you.
Yeah,
We
Dave and
love
Buster's.
you. We love you.
Dave
Dave
and,
and
hey,
Buster's.
Dave and Buster's.
AKA I do.
Dave and Buster's, give us money.
Give us
Give
the
us money.
coupons. We'll take
Yeah,
coupons.
I'll take some coupons.
I'll take the.
I'll take
coupons
some
to
free
put-
game cards. I'll
Yeah.
go for some free game cards.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
We'll promote you out there as long as you give us some free goods and stuff like that.
I do have to say this. Last week I just rattled off some questions of Cletus, and Cletus hit some grand slams, home runs, dingers, whatever you want to say last week about some of the stuff. And an interesting thing that happened, he mentioned some of the stuff on our podcast, and then they mentioned it on the ESPN.
Ooh.
So Cletus was ahead of the time.
Ooh.
If you read my Twitter bio, it says average sports commentator. It says
Hey,
assistant
so
coach, average sports commentator.
So speaking of Cletus being all that kind of stuff, sometimes randomly on my YouTube channel, what pops up, I think Cletus has a YouTube channel where he used to go play.
I used
He used to
to.
go pitch by pitch of baseball games.
Yes, I
and, like
do.
do a commentary of stuff.
No way.
Yeah, I haven't watched it or
COVID,
listened to it, but it popped up.
COVID. I
Did
did do
some
something during
things to you,
COVID. I
man.
was bored, so I'm like, oh, I'll do some commentating.
Just a bit
Commentate-
outside.
Commentating baseball. I like baseball, but I can't sit there and watch a full damn game.
Oh, he hit him with the
about it.
pitch here. Oh, hit that left
Oh,
corner.
here's a fight. Here's a fight. Fight. How about that?
Well, you got to be able to mix in talking about the game and other stuff.
How about that though?
How
The,
about there it is. Look at that commentator practice up there.
Man, gosh, yeah. So
Oh, come on now.
formerly,
I know, spit it out. Let's go. Spit it out.
formerly sports commentator. Average though.
Yeah.
Average at best.
Average.
Okay.
Average.
Well, speaking about baseball here. Okay. Recently on Tuesday was the MLB trade deadline. There's 3 people in this chat right now that were super excited about what their teams did. And there's one of us.
I don't know about excited, but
I would be excited if I were y'all. Just like if I was a Rangers fan, I would be excited by what y'all did.
I guess so.
But being a Yankees
So what do you
fan,
rate it? I mean, what do you rate the Astros trade deadline stuff?
You know,
Like
it's
they're-
not. We got them at a discount. That's the biggest thing I think for the Stros.
So whole thing, you're just saying, Verlander's the biggest thing they got.
Not the biggest thing, but it helps with the rotation right now, and that's what the Astros need is some starting rotation help. And Verlander, hey, the boy. Here's the best thing though. Kate Upton is coming back to Houston.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So what? He's more happy for that. So it's going back to old Joshua's topic here. The Rangers, they're having a heck of a year, best start however long. But the problem is at the moment has never been their starting real pitching. Like it's always been going to the bullpen, and after that, they got 2 to 3 good bullpen guys, and they're in close games when they got to bring the bullpens in, and they use 4 or 5 bullpen guys that have to be in games for nights. That's why they can't go on big streaks. Like if they stay consistent and win big streaks, they're ahead of the AL big time, and no one's catching them. But that's the problem.
But they're not. They half came up. So they came up, or are they tied right now?
Consistent because they're pitching. They'll use their best ones, but in the bullpen to be in a close game in 3 games in a row, and they're in trouble. I give what they did. I mean, they went and got everything they needed. Bullpen, 2 bullpen catchers or 2 bullpen pitchers, a new guy for their starting rotation because they lost to Grom.
They got 2 guys, didn't they?
They got a new catcher because Heim's out, and they don't know if he can come back. He won't be playing catcher the rest of the way. That's for sure. Seager was hurt. A bunch of stuff's been happening to him as the trade deadline happened. So they made some big moves that they needed to make to be competitive. But everybody's like, "Yeah, go Rangers! It's our year, baby!" And I was like, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna build for the future." I was like, "Nah, man, it's win now." And this is win. Yeah. It's win now because think about this: the toughest team. Who's the best team in the AL right now? That if you had to play them, you're scared to play them in a 7-game series.
Astros.
Okay, Adam, what you got?
Houston,
New York Yankees, baby.
Fuck that.
I'm looking here. They're 11 games back of Baltimore right now.
The Yankees or Astros? Oh, the Astros.
The Yankees. The Astros are tied right now with the Rangers.
But the best 2 teams in the AL right now are what you're saying are the Astros and the Rangers.
The Twins aren't bad.
The Twins. So
the Orioles are pretty good.
The Orioles are pretty good.
Yeah. So
the Rays aren't bad.
So you're telling me right now of all the teams in the AL, you have to get through your division rival, the Astros. Mm-hmm. And I think in a 7-game series, which in the Astros case, they've gone to 5. They've been in 5 playoff series in the last 2 years compared to the Rangers, none. Playoff experience is going to over-trump that young squad of the Rangers that have not very many have been in the playoffs. I don't think any of them have been in the playoffs.
And
but they do have enough. I think they do have guys recently because they've made some moves the last couple of years to because
They,
I would say like maybe after their World Series run, they kind of dropped down. Those
Mhm.
star guys faded, or they left, and they kind of had some down years. But the last couple of years, they've kind of had a little bit more of an initiative to, like in free agency in the winter markets, to go out and get
Mhm.
guys and have instead of being content with, oh, we're going to be average and just get through it and all this kind of stuff. But they've been a lot better than the Yankees at going out there and getting people to make their team better now.
That's
And
not
at the
saying very
deadline,
much.
no, and again, we can talk on and on about how shitty the Yankees are and how they're run and stuff, but, um,
But hey,
uh,
paid Aaron Judge, baby.
well, that's true, but, and overpaying everybody else, but I don't wanna get on that right now. I don't wanna get all upset right now. But, like, but
He's too
even the
busy to
Rangers
be
at the deadline,
upset.
yeah, too busy to be upset, right? Thank you. Um, but even the Rangers, like, the deadline, like, they go out and get Max Scherzer, who's a great, even though he's 38, 39, 40 years old, like, he and, like, Verlander are, like, still
yes,
some of the best pitchers in the league. He's and then what's crazy about Max is that he's not having a great year for his standards, but when you compare that to like the rest of the league,
he's up there.
it's like he's still one of the best.
Yeah.
So like you get a dominant ace, if you will, there. Then they went out and
But doesn't
got
he have like a
Jordan
4 ERA
Montgomery.
right
Yeah,
now?
but but like based on his like well again overall four anything over four is not good, but like the Mets weren't very good. So like
True. Yeah.
you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
the
Like so
Mets are
that kind of plays
trash.
part. Um but they went out and got Jordan Montgomery, who former Yankee, who was very not very good in New York, but pitched really well in St. Louis. So like they got
Mhm.
another guy for the rotation. And I'm curious, Jack, what you were talking about earlier about their bullpen, but like are the starters not giving them quality
Well,
starts?
like so,
I mean,
yeah,
like
they definitely are. Like their starters are getting to the sixth inning, but if you know watch baseball to playoff time, when do managers start calling different things for the inning to start? It's the sixth and seventh inning because they know their starting pitcher is at the tail end of their night,
right.
right?
Depending on who you got on
Yes,
the mound.
yes. So for like sixth or seventh inning, that's when managers are starting to tell them take shots, swing away, get dingers. Like that's when the tail end of the pitcher's night is. Their pitches are slowing down just a tad, not a whole lot, but a tad enough for you to hit them out of the park or get
Right.
triples, doubles to get your rally going in the sixth and seventh. Well, they're not going to let them get. They won't give any runs up in that time. But the reliever, then they got to go to the bullpen and bring their relievers. Well, like I mentioned
Right.
earlier, they're in a 1 point, 2 run or 1 run, 2 run game, and the relievers have to come in, and their top relievers can pitch 1 inning where they had their relievers pitch 2 on, and they can't use them the next night. Like for example, they were just on a road trip. They played San Diego. Didn't get any runs. Maybe one. They played the Astros the week before. They beat the Astros one time. Whoop-dee. That's a team you got to beat in the hunt, and you only beat them one time. That's trash. It's because of that. I mean, then you go to San Diego and don't even get a win, and then you play the other day and you can barely score and win. So you're being inconsistent, and the bullpen, your starters give you a lot of firepower, your starting pitchers, but when you go to the bullpen, that's when you're in trouble. Like Chapman gave a big home run shot to Altuve the other night.
Yeah, get used to that shit.
Yeah, shut
He
up.
loves giving up bumps to Altuve.
Yeah, but
Oh,
I mean that's the
Twitter,
thing.
Twitter
Like,
was undefeated that day because
yeah,
they
but
showed the
that's like,
Yankee clip and that clip. It
yeah,
was awesome.
but that's their problem, man. Like, and think about this: it's getting close to the tail end of all this, and they're gonna have to win. The Astros have playoff experience.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
The Rangers don't.
Yeah.
There's probably 3 guys on that roster that have been in the playoffs, know what postseason's like, and that postseason experience is still postseason experience. I don't care what
Right.
anyone says. Like
No, I agree.
Alex Bregman's been in the playoffs. They've been in the World Series. Jose
Right.
Altuve's been in the playoffs. Verlander's won a World Series. I mean, that's going to come down to the bottom line. None of the Rangers. Scherzer been in the World Series. Anyone else? Seager, World Series. Garcia, World Series. No. Heim, World Series. No. Young, barely college World Series. Like they're young, yes, but
Yeah,
it's win now.
I
You're the AL. You
yeah.
just told me the toughest team you got to play through is Houston, and you played them in 3 series and you only beat them to one time.
I just looked it up. Houston's up 6-4 in that series, right? During the season
Yeah,
right now. Now, I'll say this: when the freaking Rangers are on, they fucking whip the hell out of the Astros
yeah. But they
when
haven't
they're
been
on.
Yeah,
But the last few series, Houston's been, it's like they beat them 4-3, 2-1. Those
yeah.
close get.
Then
But
that's what we
again,
talked about
that's
bullpen.
but that's also playoff baseball.
Yeah,
It's those guys who've been making those deep runs the last 5-6 years
yeah,
in October.
yeah.
You know, and just they don't flinch.
Yeah,
You're
absolutely.
down 1-0. Okay, we don't flinch
Yeah.
because you got a guy like Jordan who can freaking send it over the damn wall.
Isn't that their
Well,
mantra this
well,
year, Cletus?
it's like Cuzzo.
Yeah,
You hang something on Cuzzo, he's sending that bitch over the damn railroad
yeah,
tracks.
yeah, yeah.
You
I
know,
mean,
Yeah, and it will be interesting as the season winds down, how the Rangers respond with their additions and trying to get healthy because now they're kind of getting to that final stretch now where the hopefully the Rangers can get back on the horse and
Mhm.
get going
they need
because
it.
F that.
the Astros
F that.
the Astros do the Astros didn't start the year well,
No.
but they're starting to find their groove,
Mhm.
right? They got their guys back, they're healthy. They got Verlander back, that's going to put a pep in their step, for them in the town and stuff. So like, obviously there's that pressure too, even before the postseason. You know what
Yep.
I mean? Is like getting there. You know what I mean?
So
Trying to win your division, not and avoid a wild
then
card spot. You know what I mean? All that kind of stuff. So
and
it'll be interesting.
you're still the defending world champions.
Oh,
Right.
there it is. You were waiting for. He was waiting for that door to open, and it
Yeah.
opened.
I'm just saying. I saw the best troll jersey. You might have saw it, Jack. It said Rangers titles and it had a 0.
Wow.
Cool, man.
There's no love lost between those two.
Oh yeah,
I love it. But here's my question for you, Jack. Y'all as Rangers fans, would you rather? And I think I know the answer. Having that first round bye is always like sketchy because you got I know rest is good,
yeah.
but if you're
No.
one of those like a young team like the Rangers, you just want to keep rolling,
Yeah, keep rolling, baby.
playing.
Keep rolling.
Would you want the wild card and have
Depends
to?
who the wild card was.
It's probably gonna be the Rays. That's the thing.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And
The wild
there's
I
a
card's
want the
scary
probably
bye
squad.
every day. With the,
If
Oh, yeah.
it's the Rays,
Yeah.
you want the bye, but
Yeah.
so
No,
think.
I-
No,
I think you want the bye either way, solely because, like you said, we're basically solely off of starting pitchers. You give your starting
rest.
pitchers a chance for more rest than the bat. Because even if the bats don't show up, but your starters show up, you always got a chance. If a pitcher doesn't allow a run, it's
'Cause
almost impossible to lose the game.
best of 3, best of 5, the wild card.
3.
3, right?
Believe it's
So
3.
you have what, an extra 4 days rest,
Yeah.
5 days rest.
For a starting pitcher,
If you don't play in the wild
that's an
card.
incredible amount of rest,
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, especially
especially when we have no bullpen.
Yeah,
I agree. I agree with that too. But you also got to know you need some play out. You're going to go. So think about this. You get the first round bye, like you talk about. Then you meet the defending World Series champs after they get hot in 3 games. They smack around the team in the wild card, and then they meet you at home after they just smack around the team. That's tough.
Yeah, you
That's
know what
And
happens
then we
when that
smack
occurs?
them around.
No, I mean that's
You know what
tough.
happens? You know what happens?
That's the
when that
Yankees.
occurs?
What happens?
You know what happens? You get fucking swept. Okay, you get fucking swept.
It's a
fair.
tell oldest time. The hottest team wins at the clutch
Yes.
moments. So you can say rest matters. Well, if a team just goes in a 3-game series and they get 25 runs in 2 games, then they come see you.
How many runs
What are
they
gonna
allow?
Go? Huh?
How many runs they allow?
I don't know, Clee. How many runs did they give
That
up
makes a big
against the
difference.
Yankees? How many?
Oh, it does, no doubt.
Yeah, but how many did they get when they smacked around the first? They made the wild card and they smacked around their team in the first round and they go to meet the Yankees and smack them around.
They were averaging like maybe 4 to 5 runs a game. But it was one of those just like 1-0 into the 5th or 6th. Then Altuve or somebody gets a hold of one, and they just explode in that inning.
Yeah.
And you get that starting pitcher off the freaking mound. That's the thing with the Stros. If they can get your starting pitcher deep in or get after him early, and you got to pull them. But I'll say this: DeGrom's still with the Rangers. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
DeGrom
out,
and
though,
Scherzer.
yeah.
Oh, he's out.
Yeah, he's out. He won't be back till next year.
Oh, I guess why
You got Tommy John.
that's why they trade for Scherzer,
Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But it's
that's
just
gonna be interesting.
it is.
I can
You
tell
know,
you right now, we won't get the number 1 seed. We'll blow
No.
it. So I can already
No.
tell you. I can already tell you we'll be a wild card. I'm just giving myself a hope to be like, hey, I would really like a first round bye, but we're not going to get it. So let's just be honest.
Okay, Adam. So since you're bringing that up, let's get your take on the Rangers right now. I know we've been kind of speaking and you've been sitting there listening, but let's get your take here on the Rangers. So, like, what's your take on their season so far? What they did at the trade deadline, and what you're looking forward to for the rest of the season?
I mean, I'm going to have to piggyback on the fact that all we got is a starting pitching, but we've had some great bats here too. So, I mean, if you're scoring 10, like Cleet said, 10, 15 runs, your starting pitcher could allow 7 and you're still going to win the game as long as your bats are there. So, like right now, we aren't winning any close games. So, we're not understanding what playoff baseball is actually like because we're only winning high scoring games or nail biters that were already up 3 or 4 runs at the end of a game. Like we're not winning 1 or 2 run games. So so I feel like going down the stretch, that's what's going to kill us because everybody's chiseling themselves to be a playoff baseball team. And I feel like the Rangers are still young. They are, so to speak, inexperienced when it comes down to getting formed into a playoff baseball team. They're used to just playing 162 games and calling it a season. So now we're getting to where like every game matters. Like, yeah, they started out hot, but they're losing games that are mattering now.
Like they're smoking the White Sox. Anyone should smoke the White Sox.
Yeah, like it's not.
I agree with that. I like that. I do think that take is probably one of the best ones you said in a while. They're losing the 1 point games.
So here's another scenario for you Ranger fans, right? Because I know right now, if I had to take a guess, right, just from what I can remember, they're not 100% healthy right now. The whole ball club. Right? I mean,
yeah.
And I won't even.
But no one is right now.
No, I know that, but I'm not.
I mean,
man. I won't even include DeGrom because of his previous.
You played like 4 games or 8 games.
But
like, I don't know. Not very many.
He did not play very many games this year.
But I'll say with Tommy John, you usually come back better after Tommy John.
All right, Josh, go.
Sorry, Josh.
Yeah, no. Oh, what? No, it's fine.
You shush me.
I was trying to.
You just shush me.
No, I did not. I think it's a tick I have. It just comes. I don't even know about it. So from a Ranger fan, y'all are completely healthy, right? What is y'all's honest expectations or thoughts of what the Rangers
wild card
at the end or at the end of this regular season?
Well, just over the whole season, like you think they're able to keep the AL West and win the division. They get in as a wild card. They get knocked out in the wild card. They make it to the ALDS, ALCS.
I mean, to be brutally honest, under no way, shape, or form do we get the first seed. It'll not happen. I can tell you that right now. I think depending on how the end of the season stretch goes for us, we make it out of the wild card. But if they're playing close games like we've been playing, we don't make it out of the wild card.
Let's hoping if I still start. We in the beginning of this podcast season, we started on opening day, and we all made takes on how the Rangers would do. Right, so I think we're 2 months, 3 months away from actually getting to predict our finals, and I said they're in the hunt into the last bit of the year, which I'm going to keep that take. I'm going to say they're in the hunt until the end of the year. I want a wild card that just gives them momentum so they have one more year. And then after one more year, that team's going to dismantle. It's win now for sure.
Yeah.
But if you can't do it, you got to go next year. But think about this. I always think about your Spankies up there. Right now, the Spankies have 3 guys on the IR in their pitching rotation. that when they come back, or if they ever come back, or if they come back next year stronger, the Yankees are back to being contenders.
Nah,
And-
they're not.
Yeah, I just
They
my
still
take.
Basuda.
Well, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I still think
They
like my
paid one
take on the
guy
Yankees
to
is
lose
that,
the rest of the season.
my take on the Yankees is that even if they're completely healthy, I still don't think they have the caliber to win a title because the way they are constructed is not built to have success in the playoffs, and we've seen that. I have seen that especially for the last 5 years because yes, their daddies are the Astros, but when you compare
Y'all,
the
s-
Astros
y'all
and the
send
Yankees
a
team,
Father's Day gift, by the way?
yeah, you haven't got it yet.
I don't think so. Not yet. Still
Oh, it
waiting
might
on
be
that.
right. Oh, it might be right
Right here.
right here.
Right there. Yeah, I got. Actually, I did get it, Josh.
But when you look at the two teams, and last year was as clear as day the difference of. Now I know the Astros were playing well and all that kind of stuff, but when they got swept last year, it's just a
Oh.
different one. The Astros starting rotation is better than anything the Yankees have. Like I know they got Garrett Cole and all that kind of stuff, but like Severino and Germán and all those guys were nothing compared to what the Astros had with Valdez and all those guys, right? And then
Other
you look at the
Cuzzo,
bat, other Cuzzo, right? And then
Luis
you look at what they
Garcia,
have
other Cuzzo.
yeah, and then
We
you look
want
at what they
Houston.
had. Yeah, then you look what they had offensively, and yes, they got Judge, who last year hit 63 plus home runs, right, and broke the record and all that kind of stuff. You had Stanton, who hit bombs. You had Rizzo and all that stuff, but they're built towards being it's like a bang or bust. Like they're either hitting home runs or they're not. I mean, that's how they're basically structured. Like DJ is the only guy, and maybe a couple others are. Maybe no, DJ is the only one that was consistent with actually putting the ball in play. The rest of the guys either struck out, hit home runs, hit into double plays. Right, that's their formula right there. Home runs, uh, struck out, or double plays. That's what they do. Okay, but then you look at the Astros. You got guys that can bomb it. You got guys that can put the ball in play. And then when it comes to playoff baseball, one, you got to have really good pitching, and two, you have to be able to put the ball in play. You can't just be reliant
Mhm.
on the home run ball,
That's true.
and that's how the Yankees are constructed. And um, Jack, I talk, we're Strunk and I talk all the time, and a lot of times it's just there's a lot of curse words that are exchanged in our group text within the Yankees.
F the Yankees. Screw
All
these guys.
at the beginning of the year, I wrote on my little notes. I put "F the Yankees," and I was going to tally how many times we said it. And after the first month of the season, we were at like 100 plus times, and I stopped counting. The last week has probably been about 1,000 times because they're just so terrible. You know what I mean? Like they're just terribly constructed. They didn't do nothing at the deadline to
Well,
But
yeah.
it's the Yankees.
to
It's
do
the
it.
27-time World Series champs.
Yeah, but how they're being run now is completely different to how it used to be. Like
Agreed. If Daddy Steinbrenner was still alive, this shit wouldn't be going down.
no, he's rolling in his grave right now
Oh, yeah.
because of how they're run. And you can ask and Jack, you can ask Strunk this. The one guy that we say and have the most hatred for right now is their GM, Brian Cashman. And at the end of the year, if they don't make playoffs, I've heard rumors that there's nothing's going to change, and if it does, it might be Boone who gets knocked out, and he's just going to be the scapegoat.
Wow.
Did
Wow.
you?
Wow.
I was on Bleach Report, and they had a video of freaking Yankee fans maybe yesterday or 2 days ago chanting in the Bronx, "Fire Cashman!" Just
Yes,
loud,
everybody's
just
tired of it.
loud.
Everybody in that city is fed up with how things are going, right? And
Mhm.
Strunk tells me all he sends. I see it all the time too. Like every time they lose, they're trending on Twitter, and not in a positive way.
Oh, it's awesome.
You know what I mean? Because
That's
I know
awesome.
it's awesome
It's
for you,
freaking awesome. I love it.
but they're just terrible. You know what I mean? Like they got Garrett Cole who's good, but like they waste his ass. They waste Judge.
It's like you
They should
remember
have
it's the
never.
Angels, baby.
They
Yeah.
should have never traded
Uh,
for Stanton. I like Stanton, but they never should have traded for Stanton.
They got the two
They had
best.
the opportunity.
That man hasn't had a healthy season since.
So here's the thing that we always talk about that really pisses us off. They had a chance to go get Verlander before he went to the Astros for the first time,
Yeah.
Oh,
but
from
Cashman
the
didn't want to do it.
why?
Cashman didn't want to do it. He didn't want to send. There was like a prospect or something that he wanted to give up, and that prospect hasn't even reached the major, right?
That's about right.
Um, they had a chance to get Garrett Cole before he went to the Astros. Didn't want to pull the trigger. So what
Oh,
do?
they
They go
pay
get
him.
Giancarlo Stanton.
Well, then they get the Cole, but you have to pay Cole now big boy money.
Yes, but I'm saying like they had all these opportunities to get guys that and they always happen to go to the Astros for the most part. You know what I mean? But the two guys that really like shoved it up their ass in the postseason was the two guys that had an opportunity to go get it and they didn't. They went and got somebody. They went and got Giancarlo Stanton. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And then they try to just nickel and dime their way with guys here and there.
It's
Like
the
they got
Yankees.
Einer,
Kind of
Einer
Falefa from the
Falefa,
Rangers, baby.
right? Right. They went and they had Odor. They had Trevino. They get all
I
these
still laugh at
mid
Joe,
card
Trevino.
Joey
Gallo.
Joey Gallo.
What I mean, but that's crazy because the Yankees in the '90s were their mentality was
Even early 2000s.
yeah, we want that
The
guy.
late 90s,
What's
yeah.
the price? Okay, here's a blank check.
Yeah.
Let's go get him. Let's go win a freaking World Series.
Yeah, it's just.
But again,
It's like I was talking.
Daddy
I was
Steinbrenner.
talking to.
Daddy Steinbrenner.
go.
That was his
Yeah,
mentality
yeah.
of we're gonna freaking
Yeah.
win.
That's like I was telling somebody in the office today. I was just about it, but like the way they try to run their ball club now is
Mhm.
how the Oakland A's and how the Rays run their team. Small ball, or not small ball, but analytics and trying to keep the payroll down.
Yeah, but
You know what I
they
mean?
don't
That
need to
kind of
do that
stuff.
in New York. That's
And
a big
they're not
market
built
team.
that
No,
way.
You're
New
the
York's a
Yankees.
They're not
big.
built that way.
New York's a big market team. You don't need to
Look
be
what the
doing that
Mets
way.
did. I mean,
You have
granted,
the
the
Yes
Mets are having a
Network.
horrible season, but look at what the Mets did. They went out and paid 50 players, and I mean, their season's still shit, but they at least made the attempt, and then they realized that their season's just still not any good.
Well, that's a classic example of teams that haven't been good in a while. They
You can
go and
take
have a
shots.
good season or
Yeah.
two, and they go and put a lot of money into stuff to have that short window,
And then
and
their
then
window.
either they do it or it busts.
And it bust. It bust for the Mets.
And it busted.
And it busted for the Mets, and they
It
realized
busted.
that. Because I remember watching opening day, they had the Mets on TV, and they were talking about this is the year of the Met. This is the year of the Mets.
Yep.
The Mets need to go. They put all the money in, and it didn't work out for them. I think the Yankees.
You know who the next team's going to be that they talk about like that? Anybody want to take a guess?
Yankees.
Rangers.
Fuck them. No, a team that's paid a lot of money for some star
San
players.
Diego.
San Diego
Padres.
Padres.
Yes.
Yep.
And this is, and I was saying to Cobbs the other day, is like San Diego has put so much money in that team, and they have not
They've
produced.
underachieved.
And they have
They've
not
underachieved.
done
I
what
don't
they're
think
supposed to do.
they've made the playoffs,
They've made it one time.
but not with all of them there
No.
now. Like of course this is their first full year with Soto
Yeah.
there, but the previous years when they've had Machado and Tatis, all that stuff, they're
Darvish,
even loaded.
like
They're even loaded. They're
Snail,
more loaded.
is that the pitcher?
Yeah, Blake.
Like they're good.
like
They should win.
I feel like they're more loaded this year than they have been because they got Tatis healthy, they got Machado, they got Soto, and they got Bogart from the
Oh yeah, I forgot
Red
about
Sox.
Bogarts. Yeah.
Like I was watching the other day, and the guys they had, I was like, "Holy shit!" And you go look at their record, and it's like
Yeah.
they're not even in a wild card spot or something like that. I'm like, talk about underachieving.
Yeah, that's
Well, here's what I don't understand with the Yankees, honestly.
back to the Yankees.
No, I'm just kind of curious. They're worth $7.1 billion.
Right.
The Yes Network probably brings them a good amount of money. Obviously,
Easily.
you see Yankee hats all over the United States.
Yeah, me and Josh brought that topic up. That'd be a good, interesting topic
You know,
to talk
it-
about.
And speaking and
It's like
side note
Cowboy
that
fan. It's like you see
Yes.
Cowboy fans all over the damn United States too.
yeah, and speaking of that Yes Network, that's the one reason why. Like how they were talking about one point of trying to do like an MLB network thing, like how they have the NFL pass, the game day pass. But that like because the Red Sox and the Dodgers and teams have those
networks.
broadcasting sites, and they make more money than they would if they had it collectively with MLB.
It's like Notre Dame with the
NBC.
The NBC deal with Notre Dame. It's stupid for Notre Dame to join a conference because they will lose money.
Yes,
because they get all the NBC money. So why share it when I can just keep all the money by myself?
Right, and especially too, like the conference that people are trying to put them in is the ACC, and the ACC is quickly becoming like,
oh my god,
one of the
Did
worst.
You see that thing I sent y'all today?
by the way, I'm just telling you right now, if you would have told me a year ago that the Pac-12 would be the one falling apart and the Big 12 would be the one going strong, I would call you a damn liar.
That's true too.
Yeah, Pac-12 is.
Oh my
We'll talk about that in a
gosh.
second. We'll talk about that next. So put that note. But finish what you were saying, Cleet. I'm sorry.
The Yes Network.
But yeah, it's just again, it's just money. I mean, the Yes Network brings in probably a ton of money for the Yankees, Why don't they use that to pay to go get guys like they did? Again, I know under Daddy Steinbrenner, it was we're gonna fucking win because we're the Yankees. Cost is not an option. There's if you want to, if that guy wants $5 million or $500 million, we're gonna pay him $500 million if he can help us win a World Series.
Yeah.
So here's the reason why. Okay, actually, there's two if you want to include both. Well, one, his son, who's taking over for him, Hal, is a big one of these.
Yes,
right there.
He's never had a struggle.
It's that
Daddy's
and
money.
Cashman, those two together and their world of analytics stuff like that, with their mindset of also being worried about the luxury tax stuff. They used to never worry about that. They used to pay millions in tax fines and stuff because they were more worried about winning. But nowadays, their sole focus is making sure that they come under the tax threshold so they don't get.
Well, it's also New York. They have ridiculous amounts of tax dollars. So I understand the tax dollars, but man, your team is crumbling at front. You're losing fans. The reason why the sports are huge. You're losing money in fandom. You're losing money in ticket sales. You're losing money in jersey sales. You're losing money because people are going to be like, "Screw you guys. We're going to stop watching."
You're putting at the end of the day, it's a business, and you're putting a shitty product out there, and people don't want to buy it. You know what I mean? So if they go back to the old ways, or they kind of say, "Fuck it, we're gonna just do the things how we used to do," and they start spending money, and if they have to pay extra for the tax and stuff like that, so be it. As long as they're winning, they'll make more.
Josh will be wearing his Yankee stuff, going, "Let's go Yankees!"
Well, think about this: in the Northeast, baseball is a lot more important than the South. It is. You know, but think about this: as bad as the Yankees are, I bet Yankee Stadium is still getting packed.
Oh,
because they packed the boom now.
That's what I'm saying. You know,
that's Yankees, baby. They do that. They did that in Jetsville too, but it's because it's the Yankees, and it's also Boston same way, but it's also the Yankees, man. So people from other parts of the world, country, go to Yankee Stadium to watch the Yankees. It's like Madison Square Garden. People go all over the world and go stop in New York City and go to Yankee Stadium to watch the Yankees. It's on a bucket list of people. It's on our bucket list.
I'm telling you right now. Sorry, Josh.
No, go ahead.
I'll tell you right now. I want to go see, like, sometime in the summertime. I would love to go in like a 5-day stretch. I want to go to a Yankee game, and I wanted to go to a Red Sox game.
You got to go to the Mets too, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I want to like those. There's like 3 or 4 like stadiums within like 100 miles of each other. Baltimore is it Camden Yards in Baltimore?
Yeah.
I would love to go see that. I mean, I would like to go when they're not playing like the Astros, just to go. Just to go as
to enjoy it. As a neutral.
Yeah, as a neutral party, just to enjoy the stadium, the atmosphere. Yeah. Because if the Astros are playing, I'm rooting for the fucking Astros. You know, I'm invested. If the Sox are playing fucking Baltimore, I don't have a rooting interest, and I can just enjoy Fenway.
Yeah.
Enjoy the park
that's
and
true.
Enjoy the atmosphere of Fenway Park.
That's true. And that's another reason why, you know, sports are, well, we love sports. And then but anyway, but like that's a load of crap that these other institutions, like Rangers were about to have this dude's head on a silver platter if he wasn't going to produce winning in the next year, especially since they built that brand new stadium and this and that and haven't filled it. This dude was about to have his head ripped to shreds here in Arlington if they didn't produce winning. Well, guess what he did? He went out and got all winter. He went out and got some studs. This trade deadline, he went and got some studs. Like, he went out to do it, and he did it, and now it's time to see if they can pull it off and win. And I just laugh at, like, the Yankees that can never do it. Like, I'm a Cowboys fan, so we'll Cowboys fan. Cowboys fans lose. I understand frustration what Yankees fans feel to an extent, but I know this. If the Cowboys do not make the NFC Championship or bust, Dallas might burn down Dallas Cowboys Stadium. I mean,
it's getting to that point for the Cowboys. Like, I know, like, they're
burn down Dak's house.
Well, here's the thing: will people ever like just boycott
No,
and not go to the games? No. So Jerry Jones doesn't give a fuck how
Yeah.
good the damn team is.
But
He's
that's
still
what
making damn money.
We going to win Super Bowl bust.
Hey, you got to tell them what they
They-ho.
want to hear.
I agree.
You haven't done it in
I
30
agree.
years.
I agree. Crap, man. Like,
Chill out over there, Titans.
I agree. I mean,
man, shit.
but this is like, okay, if you look at stat roster wise, player wise, coaching wise, the GM managers and all that, the best team in the NFC that has been the most consistent, haven't had a terrible like 3-2 season or 3-20 season, whatever, has been the Dallas Cowboys. They have been mediocre, but they have never had a losing season. It's always been 8-8,
average,
10-6. Like they've had decent years. They've never been. They've been like this. They've never done
when
this.
When was the last time they did have a losing season?
I think the last year, Wade Phillips was probably the year the last year they were. Jason Garrett's last year. I can't remember.
I think we were in high school, Jack. Maybe.
Yeah, that's the last time.
But they were like 7-8, maybe.
Yeah, something, and they missed the playoffs because they lost to Philly or something. But they still could have made the playoffs. But that's like this thing. Like, quit talking about it. You put money in this squad. Go do it. Like, okay, Dak's a decent quarterback. He's not a playmaker, but he can make plays and get you win you ball games.
I do have to say this about the Cowboys. At least, do you remember when Dave Campos was their head coach?
Yeah.
And they had Quincy Carter and stuff like
that.
I do remember Quincy.
We had that poster. Me and Adam had that poster on the wall with Felix Jones.
They went. I remember because I think he lasted 3 years, Campos, and they went 5-11 all 3 years.
I remember those times, but they haven't had another year
Quincy
like that.
Carter, baby. Quincy Carter
had another years like that in a really long time.
I remember Quincy Carter.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's not obviously
that's what's frustrating.
They've been consistently mediocre.
Like the Niners, the Niners have had worse seasons than the Dallas Cowboys, and they're back to being NFC champions, back to being in Super Bowls.
Let me add,
Philly had a rough year where they had a top 10 draft pick, and then they come back and they went to the Super Bowl last year.
What do you want to ask, Cleet?
Well, I was going to say this. In sports, and especially like the NFL, you get good when you're bad. When you like tank, right? Yeah. Because you get the better. If you're average, you're going to stay average. Yeah. The only way you can get better is to get top 10 draft picks, right, and get that kind of talent.
Well, they have
now. Granted, the Cowboys are one of those franchises you can attract big free agents because you're in Texas, no state tax, and you're in Dallas. A really good city to live in.
Star, baby.
And it's a big brand.
And it's a brand, baby. And it's the most valuable brand in sports.
Yep.
So,
I mean,
and we're still mediocre, and we love it.
And that I understand you saying they need to suck in order to get good, but they still got some hell of draft picks. I mean, they got the best guard in football. He was a top first
round. The man.
They got
pay the man.
They got a defensive lineman that was a first round draft pick. He's probably one of the best DNs that ever played the game. They have a cornerback that's hit or miss, but he's still not going to throw his way. The best, I think, to me, the best defensive back that's ever played is prime time. You had decent receivers and running backs, linemen. Like your line's falling apart now, but you just get it going. But they have been picking up good people in the draft, and their draft hasn't been bad. But the issue is you have been average. You've been competing. You've been playing teams you should beat, and you beat them. Like you beat the hell out of the Minnesota Vikings. They were a playoff team. And you lose to the Giants, and the Cowboys beat the heck out of the Giants. Come on, man. It's time for you to get out of this little slump and saying there's a curse. You've been playing some of the best teams in the NFL all these years in ball games with them, and you still even the year they lost Tony Romo, they were in a game with Tom Brady in AT&T for 3 quarters. What's that say about come on? It's time for us to do something, get to the playoffs, and make a run. Like I'll be happy if it's NFC Championship at this point. Something that's other than the first round and getting beat by your division rival or doing something dumb and losing to the dang Niners. Quit losing to the Niners in the playoffs.
That's their boogeyman.
But the Niners roster is pretty damn good too.
The Niners roster is incredible.
Yes. And they've
Y'all
got
crazy. Y'all, I mean, I'd be upset. Obviously, I'm upset losing to the 49ers, but it's not like you're losing to a horrible team. Like, you're not losing to a bum. Like, you're losing to a team. Like, they're a good team.
Adam, you're not losing to the Titans.
You
best
lost
left
to
tackle
a backup quarterback, baby.
The third string quarterback.
But the roster around him is
the
really
roster
damn
around
good.
him and the coaching scheme made it work for him. That's why I do think the Broncos will be decent because the coaching scheme is going to work around the Russell Wilson.
That's my sneaky pick.
I like the little rivalry that's being built between the Jets and the Broncos. I've been talking about it to people.
I know.
That's a sneaky,
I like it too, but I didn't like
sneaky little rivalry that's being built.
Peyton should have stuck with it. I didn't like that.
Yeah.
Should have stuck with that shit because it's true. They were fucking terrible. And Hackett, whatever his name is, Nathaniel Hackett needs to come out and own that shit because that motherfucker didn't even last a full season.
You have a quarterback that was in the MVP conversations at one point and then falls off the face. Like, come on.
And they got talent there in Denver. It's not like they were a shit show and they just overpaid Russell to come there. They have talent there.
That's why, it's obviously a good organization and they got players. If Sean Payton left the booth to come coach it. If that doesn't tell you anything, because most coaches aren't going to get out of the booth to go coach a team that's trash. That isn't going to win.
Is he a coaching scheme quarterback? You think he's only as talented as his coaching scheme? Russell Wilson?
I mean, he was good in Seattle. I think if you
Geno Smith is also good in Seattle.
Geno Smith.
Yeah, I
is also good in Seattle. So I'm asking you: is he a coaching scheme success, or is he a success on his own?
I think a bit of both.
I think some both. Like Josh, I think because think about it, Denver. If they didn't even let him be him in Denver when he was there. Like they were literally.
That's when a superstar is a superstar.
No,
they're not making him do a check down. They're not making him do a check down.
Well, they're not giving him
the reps. They're not making that man get sacked.
Obviously.
They're not making him do anything.
Well, how are you supposed to win when you give up 20 sacks in a game?
But to me too,
how are you supposed to win when you're throwing a check down?
Yeah. He had to throw a check down because they don't have time.
You don't have to throw a check down. He ran so much in Seattle instead of throwing a check down, and he made it work.
This dude's also 36 years old now.
That's I don't know. Geno Smith is older and he's still running around. So I think basically what I'm trying to say is I think he's a schemed quarterback. I think he's only as successful as the coach.
Well, I think that
as the coach will allow him to be.
Right, but I feel like that can be applied to every quarterback in a certain way, not fully, because even Tom Brady, like I know Tom Brady is the GOAT, probably the great. He's whatever the greatest ever. You know what I mean? But like. A lot of his success was schemed too in New England and in Tampa Bay. Now he's been surrounded by some great players, and he was a great quarterback. He was a great high IQ and all that kind of stuff. But the scheme too, like what I mean. But
you can do that. You can say that with Peyton Manning, Patrick Mahomes.
I think that Peyton Manning's a scheme quarterback as well. I don't doubt that.
Drew
for
Brees.
A second. Drew Brees is the same way. He had Sean Payton,
Joe Montana, Dan Marino, like. You can say that with any quarterback. A team is only as good as their quarterback and their coach's relationship with their quarterback. If a coach is going to say, "Hey, pick your plays," like did you watch the show on Netflix called Quarterback?
I'm watching.
They had an so. I don't like the Vikings, but I like the Vikings. But Kirk Cousins sat in a meeting room with their head coach, and they're in there talking plays. And he said, I like this play against this look. And they're having a conversation with each other about what plays that he likes, what he saw on film that's different than what he saw. And they're having that communication and scheme-wise towards things. So you could say any coach, any quarterback, in the league is a schemed quarterback. If you put a quarterback like you put what's his name, if you take Patrick Mahomes out of Kansas City and he
They're
go
still
play
gonna be
somewhere
pretty-
else, is he still going to be good? Is Kansas City still going to be good?
Kansas City will still be good. Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
'Cause
Patrick
Andy-
Mahomes will be
Andy
average.
But Patrick Mahomes is still a great quarterback. You're not going to take that away.
But I think that
He's a
he'd be
great
just as
quarterback.
successful anywhere else.
You
Let me
think
ask
he
you this.
would?
I
ask you
do
this,
think
Adam.
so.
So
So if
right
you take him
now,
out and take him to New York, he's
Because
gonna
they
be
thought
New York.
that Patrick Mahomes wouldn't have been as
Yeah, that's
successful
true.
without Tyreek Hill. He did the complete opposite. He was
I
more
knew
successful
he-
without
I
Tyreek
said
Hill.
that they were going to win Super Bowl.
But my
without
point
Tyreek
is,
Hill.
I think that the situation is, I
So-
think that he would be good anywhere. And I think
Here's
that
my-
Kansas City would be good without him.
here's my question: Pat Mahomes, top 5 quarterback in the league. Yes, we can all
Yes,
agree.
number
correct?
one.
Yeah.
Number one.
No que-
Okay.
number one.
So you remove him from Andy Reid, really good play caller, put him in
Green Bay.
Still number
Green
one.
Bay. Green
I
Bay.
still
Still
think he's
number
number one. I still think
I still
think he's the number one
because
quarterback.
I still
Well,
think
no
he'd be
question.
good, but I think so. Like Trey Lance, they've been busting Trey Lance's chops in Niner land. But if you put him in Kansas City, is he going to be? Are they going to get his full potential in San Fran with Andy or in Kansas City? I think so. I mean, that's scheme. That's coaching.
I know, but
But
you're
you
also
can't say
proving the point
Russell
that I'm
Wilson-
just saying.
I'm
The
saying
question
proving the
was,
point. You're
if
saying
you
Russell
take Patrick
Wilson,
Mahomes,
you're saying Russell.
no, you're not
Wilson's
listening to the
quarterback
question.
coach. The question is for Russell Wilson.
The
We're
question
going
to
back
him
Russell
was,
Wilson.
if you
You
take
said
Patrick
Russell
Mahomes out of
Wilson
Kansas
isn't gonna
City,
be good
is
by
he still
himself.
good? You said if you take Patrick
That's
Mahomes
not-
out of Kansas
the
City, is he
original
still
question
good?
was Russell Wilson. Yes, I said Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback.
Okay, but not
in
every
era.
quarterback is a scheme quarterback. Is basically my question.
And
I think that
some
Russell
quarterback-
Wilson
it
is a
depends on
schemed
the
quarterback.
Situation. Not all the quarterback. Every quarterback needs a good scheme. You can't just say anything else. You could literally say, "Oh, I'm going to throw the ball 100 times a game and win with that quarterback." Without a good situation and scheme, it don't matter. You can have Lamar Jackson. If you don't have a good scheme, you're not going to win. Game of football.
I don't think Lamar Jackson is that good, so
It's chess,
that
man.
one's not a very good comparison to me. I think Lamar Jackson is made by his coach.
You're just saying, okay. If you Lamar Jackson, you take him out and make him anywhere else in the league, he's not going to be good. If he gets to Kansas City, he's not going to be good. If he gets in
He'll be good
San
in
Fran,
Kansas
he's
City.
not going to be good. He's not going to be good in San Fran. Is
But he
gonna
wouldn't be good
in
anywhere.
Dallas?
Your question was he wouldn't be good anywhere. No, he wouldn't be
He
good
would be
anywhere.
good. He would be
He'd be
good.
good in Kansas City, yeah. I think anybody,
That's
Brock Purdy would
That's
be.
proving you're wrong.
Brock Purdy would have won the Super Bowl with Kansas City.
Brock Purdy would have won the
Andy
Super Bowl.
Reid could
Kansas
take
City.
anybody in the. Andy Reid could take any quarterback in the NFL currently
That's false.
and take him to a Super Bowl.
That's false. That's false.
That's a pretty bold statement.
That's false.
That's an interesting take.
That's a very interesting take.
Because he had a good quarterback at one point in time, and he went to the
He
Super
took
Bowl.
Alex
and
Smith
lost.
to the AFC Championship.
He's gone to Super
Alex
Bowl
Smith.
before. He took Donovan McNabb to the Super Bowl.
I'm aware. I'm very aware. That's why I say Andy Reid.
You
I
said
don't
any
think that it's
you're saying he
necessarily-
could take any quarterback in the league and go to Super Bowl. That's a bold take.
Yes.
He's gone to the Super Bowl before and hasn't won it. And then he takes Patrick Mahomes.
I didn't say win
Patrick
the Super
Mahomes
Bowl.
won.
I said go to the Super Bowl. There's a difference in the take.
So how about the Big 12?
What a great
How about the
name.
Big 12? It's still alive and kicking.
Okay, well, talk about Big 12. How about we start off with what we were talking about earlier? How about the Pac-12?
Crumble,
Dude,
baby.
and how
crumble.
Is that going to be a damn conference in 2 years? Shit.
Well,
How
I don't
long-
think
how
NCAA
long
is
is
going
it
to be a
gonna
conference
be?
anyway.
How long is
Or-
it going to be before Oregon and Utah and the other
Washington.
top
Wa-
teams that are there are giving out the
Or
juices?
UC
'Cause even
UC's already
Colorado's
gone.
out, and Colorado's not a good
UCLA,
team yet.
huh?
They're already gone. They're going to the Big 10.
Yeah, they're going Big Ten.
UCLA?
Yes,
Yep.
both LA schools are going to the Big
But I feel
10.
like that's
So you get USC versus Michigan in November when it's 2 foot of snow up
Equally.
north. Oh yeah, that's
so like all this. I will say this before we get going. All the conference changing and stuff like that, and teams
How do y'all
going
like
from
it?
here to there. It
It's a
is
matter of
so
time.
weird
It's a
for
matter.
me.
It's a matter of time until there's only
I
3
know.
teams. There's 3
Uh,
leagues.
yeah, I know. It's just
And
such a weird
you
concept.
won't need the NCAA anymore.
No.
Yes, and it's such a weird concept because obviously growing up, we knew that the Pac-12 was who they were, and so on and so forth,
It
and
was
kind
regional.
of that
Yes.
traditional mindset and all this kind of stuff. But nowadays, it's so much about the money. It's all about the Benjamin. You know what I mean? And everybody knows it, right?
Mhm.
Obviously, Jack, going through your course there at Clemson, like, that's what y'all talked about.
Yeah.
It's literally all about the money and how much money you can make and
Mhm.
all this kind of stuff. And it's just crazy how things are changing. Like just what we talked about, like USC and UCLA are on the West Coast.
Mhm.
They're about to go join a conference that is all in the Midwest to Northeast. Like they're literally going to go transcontinental, go play games
Well, think about this one:
during the season.
USC and Rutgers. Rutgers is in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Yes.
That you got to go across the damn country to go play a conference game.
Yeah.
So when do you leave? When do you leave? To Thursday to go play a Saturday game in New
Probably.
York in New
You probably
Jersey.
leave Wednesday because the time change
Right. So
and the
Jack can make it do
atmosphere.
it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But not only do we got to think about it from a football perspective,
They still
but you
student.
got to
They still
Basketball,
you
students.
got to do the other sports as
Oh
well.
yeah,
When
basketball is
basketball,
going to be rough,
baseball,
even rougher.
soccer.
Mm-hmm.
and it's gonna
Imagine
be
basketball. Like
Because
Monday night or Tuesday nights, they get home from Michigan and they got to go to class on Wednesday or Thursday.
so
They ain't
at
going to
least
class.
how
Quit
many
playing.
how many games a week does basketball play? 2.
2.
So you have a Monday and a Friday, or Monday
It's
Saturday,
Thursday. It's Tuesday, Saturday.
Tuesday Saturday. So you go say USC goes to Rutgers on Sunday, or Monday. They fly to
Mhm.
Rutgers, play a game, fly back to LA, go to class Wednesday, Thursday, and they got to go to Michigan on Saturday.
Mhm.
That would be one of those things where the conference needs to do a job of like make sure the scheduling works, but you can always do that.
Honey,
How about
baby.
how about this one? And that which I'm more that and it's just
These kids
crazy
don't
to
even
me.
need class anymore. They're going to get paid the same.
And you can do most of
So
your
it
stuff
doesn't really
online.
even matter.
So
Yeah.
it's and how about Colorado joining going back?
Back to the Big 12. All
Well,
you need now is Nebraska,
uh,
baby.
you
I
think that
know.
I don't think Nebraska's ever going to lead the Big Ten. I don't know.
I know, but I'm just saying. You get
I
old
say
SMU, get SMU back in the thing, and the Pig Sueys, bring back the old Southwest
Uh,
Conference, baby.
Arkansas is not leaving the SEC.
Well,
There's
I
too much.
know,
I know, but
I'm just
there's
saying,
too
bring
much money.
the whole Southwest Conference back, baby.
Yeah.
Bryce Owls too, Houston Cougs, go Cougs,
The
But I really
they
do, I really do think that in the next 3 years, the landscape of college sports is going to be completely changed. The NCAA is not going to have a hold on college sports. It's going to be 3 conferences that are in charge, and they get to make all the rules of how everything's supposed to go. And it's going to be just like professional sports.
and
It's
what
already
I
being ran
appreciate.
like professional sports. Like, look, like you
But
said, you're
right now,
traveling across the map.
it's still right here.
These are so unsold student athletes that you're asking to travel across the country and come back and then have a full time at classroom setting.
Agree.
You're basically asking them to be professional athletes already. So, like, if you're
Yeah,
telling me that they're
they can
gonna
do that.
go be the student athlete that they so call, why is the NCAA even allowing the conference? Because of the money. So it's already being ran based off of professional athletes.
Well,
NIL deals.
that's the
Professional.
difference. That's the
They're
difference, though.
giving 18-year-olds
Yeah.
Lamborghinis, millions of dollars. So what do they even need to go to class for? And
Well, that's
it's
what I'm
at this
saying. So
point,
the
it's
NCAA is
irrelevant
trying
to
to
those
reel it in
people.
now. Yeah, I agree. But the NCAA right now still has guidelines and bylaws that they're trying to reel it in. And those teams are about to say, bye, NCAA, bye. Because the NCAA still has some rules and guidelines. NFL, the NFL is a monopoly. Nothing can stop the NFL. It's going to
Nope.
grow,
Yep.
grow. And the only person that can stop the NFL from being the NFL is one person and one person only. And no one's going to touch it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what college sports are about to go to. Professional sports have bylaws by the pro sports. NCAA still makes rules for these universities. These universities get these rules by this. Well, now they're about to go where these conferences can make the rules, and the only thing that's going to stop these rules are by these leagues, these three conferences that is going to run it. The NCAA still has to be ran by state legislators and all this other BS.
Mm-hmm.
If they do get away with the NCAA, there's not going to be any of that anymore. You mentioned they're going to be professional athletes, which is true, but they be led by state legislators, by state institutions, this and that. Well, that's about to be gone, and conferences are about to run college sports, and it's going to be just like professional sports. Nothing can stop it but the professional sports. So the Big 12, Big 10, SEC, ACC, all these conferences are about to run the show, and that nothing's going to stop them but that. And it's just going to be a madhouse that they created when they wanted all this smoke.
Yeah, but I still think that college football, whenever it morphs into and all the other college, that's still going to be under the NFL because basically farm system.
Yes, that's what it is. It's the farm system. I'm not saying they're getting away from that, but I'm saying it's going to be the only thing that's going to stop it. The only thing that's going to stop it from growing the way it is, it's itself. It's going to be the monopoly, control everything, and nothing else is going to stop it.
In terms of the big sports, right? You know, football, basketball, baseball, hockey, right?
Yeah.
So obviously the NFL is the number one top sporting league in the nation, correct?
Yeah.
Number two, is it the NCAA football?
Yeah.
For me, it is. Like again, for me, it is. But the NCAA is probably number two. Three is probably in the NBA, unfortunately. You know, then four through whatever, you know, four through or is like college baseball or college basketball. I'm sorry, college basketball, men's college basketball, then hockey and baseball.
Yeah.
You know, that's probably, you know, and here and kind of going back to this, here's what I appreciate about the Big 12. Again, they said, "Hey, y'all are dying," and they go, "No, we're not.
They'll come to us.
We still here.
We here. We here."
That'd be crazy if freaking Oregon gets into the Big 12.
Yeah.
Because the thing about like the Pac-12 right now, probably the two most attractive schools left there to me are Oregon and
Utah.
No, Washington.
Stanford's still there, right?
Traditionally, yes, Stanford. You get the academics, you know, you get Stanford in your conference, but you immediately are a better academic conference once you get Stanford in there.
Right.
But Washington traditionally and Oregon, you know, Utah has been solid the last what'd y'all say, probably 5 years.
Yeah.
You know, but then you have like where do the Arizona schools go? Where does Cal go? Where does Washington State go? You know, that's going to be interesting. You know, because you want to be one of those conferences, you know, like the Big Ten, like the SEC. You want to be in one of those conferences. So you're not going. Where did everyone go? You know, you want to be with one of those big conferences.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see. Obviously, the Pac-12 will probably get to the point where it kind of folds. You know what I mean? But
join the ACC.
I'm sure.
I'm
sure the Big 12. I'm sure the Big 12 and the Big 10 are going to feast on that, make their conferences bigger. Because who are they trying to catch? They're trying to catch the SEC. And the SEC has the ability right now that if they're going to start poaching people, they're going to go to the ACC.
Yeah.
Because
they're
right now.
Louisville.
Because they are going to go get institutions that can add more value to their conference. You know what I mean? Like, because the Big 12 and of course Big 12, Big 10, you know, they're going to go add value too, but they're also going to go add other institutions to get more money through contract deals. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So,
and what helps the SEC right now is the SEC network and ESPN. That network has it's been so good for the SEC. Just 'cause
It's
in the
that, but it's
institution.
also the fact that this.
Oh yeah, they've won how many
Yeah, it's
national
not
championships the
just the network, big dog.
15 years. They've won 13 probably, I think.
Yeah, like
Off the top of my head.
they
the
won
last
girls
15.
basketball, they won
Baseball.
football,
Final Four men's basketball.
Final Four, like that speaks volumes. It's not just a network.
Mm-hmm.
It speaks volumes when you come home with a ring, and then you just embarrass the Big 12 team on
Well,
Monday night.
but the good thing like that is the equal revenue sharing
Yeah.
in the SEC because it's the bylaws. Alabama and Vanderbilt get the same amount of money. No matter because it's that whole equal revenue sharing.
Yeah.
So every institution gets a piece of the pie, which then you can freaking run those programs and run those institutions because of that, because you're in that conference.
Yeah.
All right, so here's a quick thing I was just thinking of, because it's probably going to be the Pac-12 that gets rated again.
Yeah.
I don't see the
Possibly.
thing about the
ACC.
They're good at one thing, and
Who?
that
ACC?
one, yeah, they're decent at one thing, and that's the one thing that they can keep their hat on, and that's basketball.
What?
But
They have one football school,
and they're
or I
Right
say
now.
one football school.
but I
would
think
put
I
two.
would say basketball,
Yeah, two.
but like
I agree, Curtin.
I would say basketball is the only thing that's going to keep them afloat. But like if they go to basketball against those SEC schools, they'll toughen them up a little bit and they'll win bigger
I would say
games.
baseball too. I would say baseball is not bad in ACC.
Is the ACC going to be like another Big East? Just be like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you poach Clemson, Miami, say Louisville,
Florida
State, then you go, okay, now we're mediocre football, but we're gonna put all of our freaking money into men's and women's basketball, just like the Big East. Except
I don't know.
Big
I
East
think
don't play football.
I think the ACC right now, why there's not a lot of poaching going on there, I think it has to do something with there's some type of contract they have, and I don't know if it's like they're from their television rights.
Yeah, I think it's TV
or
deal
with their conference or something. There's something there that's keeping the ACC intact. That's why
Oh,
they have
lucky
because
dogs! Because
that's what I'm
Clemson will
saying,
be gone by now.
Oh yeah,
Clemson would have been gone. Clemson would have been the SEC. Like if you think right now that they're a good team and they recruit well, if they were in the SEC, they would be right up there with Bama's and the Georgia. You know what I mean? Because of obviously recruiting to the ACC is different than recruiting to the
South
SEC.
Carolina, baby.
Hey, listen, alumni, I don't want to hear from you.
But no,
have
but,
a second,
Have
another.
two alumni.
but that's what I'm saying. Like that's what I'm laughing. That's what I keep thinking about. There has to be something that's keeping the ACC together because by now
I think it's their television
yeah.
contract deal because they signed it for like a long, which the ACC was fucking dumb when they did it, but they signed a contract that doesn't expire for like another 10 or 12 years, and the money they make from it doesn't change. Like they can't like renegotiate it or anything like that. So, like as the SEC and the Big Ten and eventually probably the Big 12s are able to redo their contracts and make more and more, the ACC is stuck at their rate at the moment.
Dang.
Yes.
And that's why teams can't get out because of it.
Dang.
Because Miami, Florida State, Clemson, they all look to try to get out, and like it's something that they would have to literally pay hundreds of millions of dollars to get out of the contract.
Wow. I wish they could afford, but they couldn't do much after that.
Yeah, that's a big chunk.
Yeah.
Like even Texas and Oklahoma paying that.
Shit.
The thing for
That's
them,
baby
like
change,
again,
man.
That's baby
well, I
change
know
for the
that,
University of Texas.
but it depends on where those teams go. Because like obviously Clemson would probably go SEC, but like if you're the SEC and you're gonna go raid the ACC, okay, you're gonna go get Clemson because of the product they put on the field and the brand they've established.
Yeah.
You go get Florida State, right?
Do you
Now
though?
after those
Yeah.
two,
Do you go get Florida
I would
State?
say for the brand.
You would get Florida
I think
State for the Florida rivalry.
Right. Now here's the other thing too. So you go get those two, and I know I'm not gonna have no bias here, but do they really go get anybody else from the ACC?
Louisville, I think, would be the only other one I could think of. Just because Louisville baseball and basketball is pretty damn good.
Okay.
Miami. They have the pedigree. They have
the brand,
but they're also good in baseball and basketball. too.
Right.
We can't just look at football in terms of
Well, I know that, but
these
I'm just like
deals.
I understand that, but for the most part, some of these schools have been moving because of football, if you
Oh
will.
yes.
You know what I mean? Because there's more money in it, obviously. So
So
it would be interesting to see if the ACC schools were able to relocate where they would go. Now, I'm sure now if I was Miami and I was leading Miami, like I was the guy that was in charge and
mhm.
picking where we're going, obviously you're gonna probably pick the SEC because one, it's all right there. You're all right there by it. You don't have to travel all the way north to the Big Ten, nor having to travel to um, the West Coast to play those schools. You're all in that area. Um, obviously, being in the SEC allows you to get better athletes for the most part because you're able to recruit coming to play against better teams in a better conference. But then that means you also have to go against those guys all the time.
2036 is when the TV deal ends with the ACC network,
Yep.
and they're only getting $23 million a year.
Hmm.
2036.
2036.
And the SEC and all them right now are making 50, and that number
Mhm.
is going to double in the next
Yes,
couple of years.
because people are pouring money into the SC or like commercials.
Yes.
Because there's so many eyes on that network. Yes,
Well,
2036.
Atlanta's the main sponsor. Atlanta is
Mhm.
growing like crazy, and that's where SEC has a bunch of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Equally. Well done, ACC.
So here's I told you they fucked themselves over.
Well,
But
the
it
ACC.
also saves themselves too because they don't have to worry about nobody leaving.
Yeah, exactly. So
But it does hurt them overall
Yes,
because
because they're not able to
think
compete.
about this. So that's 10 years, 50 million. When that thing was happening, 20 million probably seemed like a lot. So as the SEC's 50. By then, what SEC will be at 100?
Shit, they'll be in 13 years. They might be at fucking 200 million.
per school.
The way shit's growing per school. Like I know that's probably unrealistic, but like the way it's growing, like it's gonna be closer to that than not.
Here, to me, here's the oddball. Is it's just like you said, the TV deals and how these like does the Big Ten have a network? I'm assuming, right? I
Yeah.
wonder
Yep.
what their revenue is compared to the ACC and the SEC network. I mean, it has to be good,
Wait, repeat that again.
The
like
revenue
what
for the Big Ten network.
the revenue for the Big Ten network. And think about
I know. Okay,
and
so
here's the
when
oddball.
I look,
Oh, sorry,
go ahead.
go.
No, go ahead.
Notre Dame. I know we talked about already. It'll be dumb for them to even leave a conference, but eventually, if
But the thing,
sorry, go.
uh,
Sorry,
I
man.
know I'm sorry. I keep saying
Are
stuff,
you good,
but
bro? My bad. That's my fault.
no, you're good. My dumbass over here. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm
But
interrupting.
like Notre
So-
Dame gets the best of both worlds because they compete in every sport the best of their ability. So like in
Well,
basketball they compete ACC, football
Mhm.
they can play some SEC, Big 10, Big 12,
they're
baseball they can
independent.
go SEC. I mean that's a
No,
benefit for
they're
them
ACC. They're ACC in
in
baseball.
baseball. Yeah,
Every other sport,
And
they're
basketball.
in the ACC. Football is the only exception with Notre Dame. Now, here's the thing: if those three, like you were saying, Jack, those three conferences start running things, what happens to Notre Dame being independent? They can't be independent anymore.
yeah,
If they want to be a part of the national championship picture and the part of the party, they're going to have to join a conference,
yeah.
which they don't want to because now you lose the freaking
NBC.
Well,
the
well, it
NBC money.
depends. Yeah, I would counter that and say it depends on a couple of things. Well, one thing we don't truly know how much they make because
Sure.
one, they're a private institution.
They
So
don't have to
they
release
don't have to-
anything.
right. So they could say they make one. Now I know they're making money, but
Hmm.
all that kind of stuff. But say if they're forced down the line to join a conference, who knows by that point whether it's going to be a pay cut or a pay increase.
True.
I mean, it might be beneficial for them to go from independent to up into the Big Ten finally officially because I mean they might make double or I mean I don't know. It's getting so
I don't know, man.
crazy now that you just don't know.
You
But
got 16 mouths to feed compared to one.
So they're probably 10 years is probably when that thing happens when there's only 3 conferences left.
I wouldn't be surprised.
ACC's on a thread in that last 2036 ACC that contract's over, and then ACC's.
unless somehow the big dogs in the ACC, Clemson, Florida State,
Miami.
I don't want to throw. Oh yeah, brand wise, Miami. Like if they somehow,
North Carolina.
yeah, if somehow they get out of it. You know what I mean? If whether they pay something or they're able to go legally and find some way to get out or whatever, uh,
So,
that would obviously be the down. That would start the
so
winding.
what happens to like Duke? Because Duke basketball is a big brand.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, if we get to the point where there's going to be like say a decade from now, there's three super conferences that form. Well, eventually those conferences will fight for schools like Duke
Mhm.
because Duke football is usually not very good, and they might have a good season here and there, but
Duke basketball.
but their basketball program is usually
Uh,
something that you'd go get. It'd be the same for like a school like Gonzaga. You know what I mean?
North
Like
Carolina, same thing.
No.
yeah,
Because their basketball
that they
and
would fight for
baseball are usually pretty good.
No.
yeah, because they'll still have the same concept and mindset, if you will, that yeah, we want to go get schools that are good at football, make money in football, but they can also go get schools that are really good at basketball or baseball and make money through those
Like
as well.
like
Keep adding,
Vanderbilt.
yeah, and just keep adding honey to the pot. You know what I mean? So
Baseball, Vandy
really good.
baseball, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so here's the thing I had earlier before we went on our tangent there. Who is the next school? Probably going to be from Big 12 that gets picked up by another
Thanks.
To
y'all
me,
say.
it's either Oregon or Washington. For me, it's one of those two. I think. And I think they go into the Big 12
Okay,
Oregon and Washington
Jack?
joining the Big 12.
or Oregon or Washington.
Yeah.
I think Oregon makes the most sense to me.
Yeah.
Jack, what do you
I
got?
would say that too. I'm not going to piggyback off a piggybacker here. Going the ACC thing. That's not going to. They're going to have another couple years with the ACC. I think. I think it's going to be someone like Utah.
Okay.
I think Utah's going to follow Colorado.
I agree. The one I would love to see just go away from the SEC is Missouri, because honestly they really don't fit. They don't fit,
No, they don't.
But Missouri would be stupid to leave the SEC just because there's so much money to be made in that conference.
Yes.
They just got done. They just got done building like a new $100 million indoor facility. Or something.
Missouri did.
Yeah, from SEC money, baby.
Yeah, I mean, but to me they're more like a Big 10 school or a Big 12 school. They're not really an SEC school.
Big 12 school one time.
They were. They were actually they're a Big 8 school before that.
It's crazy to think.
Adam, what about you, Adam? What do you think?
Believe it or not, even after knowing all the ACC stuff, I still think that Miami finds a way to get out of the ACC. I think that Miami has enough money to get out.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that they haven't been relevant for a long time right now. But I think once they became relevant, ACC couldn't do anything to keep them there.
But
obviously
the U is so that logo, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna take my bias and I'm gonna throw it over there until we're done to go collect it again.
Bullshit.
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 Come back.
It's okay. Hey, it's okay. It's okay.
That's a very interesting take because I know
we're all about the U.
It's all. I would say like maybe early, like in the new year, they were talking about that a lot. How Miami is one of the, them, Florida State, Clemson. I think there was another one. There's like 5 or 6 of them that were very serious into looking about how to get out.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, like Adam said, they haven't been relevant.
How much would it cost them to get out of that deal?
I can't remember. I could have swore it was at least 9 figures, give or take. Like it was something. It was a figure that they couldn't just write a check right then and there and get out. It was something that was going to be an arm and a leg.
Right. Out. But, of the ones, I would say like Florida State or Miami would have the boosters to say, here's the money.
I would say,
It's like Texas, and Texas has those boosters and go, hey, here's a check, write it, what you need, whatever you need. Just write it and go.
Yeah. That's an interesting take. I would say if Miami does get relevant again, I would say they'd be the first to go. That's a good take.
That's not bad. Even though I would think that maybe, and this is just me just thinking about being real, that somebody like Clemson or Florida State would go first
Oh, I mean, yeah,
because of their
he said
of
if they
their.
got relevant again, they'd be the
Oh,
first.
yeah, I understand that, but I'm just kind of thinking about right now. Like if somehow down the road, 5 years from now, if Miami was able to be more, you know, not that they would win it. It'd be nice if they won a national
No,
title, but if they got at least so they get in
no.
the conversation.
52 million to exit the ACC. To exit that
52,
52 million.
I feel like that's a shot in the bucket.
It's coming back. It's
I
gonna
mean,
happen.
I
It's
just
gonna, I think it's gonna happen.
I don't see. I think Clemson is kind of one of those teams that they know if they went anywhere else, they wouldn't be as strong. So I think them staying in the ACC is kind of what's keeping them relevant. So I don't see them leaving until
I
they
can
see a
see
couple
that.
of other teams leave. Because, like, don't get me wrong, they're still getting SEC caliber players and they're playing in the playoffs and they're still winning those games. But I mean, we saw what happened to them this year. They were pretty irrelevant to everybody this year. And this is in the ACC conference. So they go to the SEC this year, they get stomped all season long. As for somebody like Miami, everybody wants to go to the U. That has the most backstory, most history,
Mm-hmm.
but they're just
Yeah,
not
but I
relevant
think
enough to exit because
yeah,
they're not a place that everybody wants to be currently because there's not a lot going on for them. They just have a huge
yeah,
history.
That
yeah, and I think. Go ahead.
that's the thing. Do you want to be a big fish in a small pond, or a big fish with other big fish? You know, would you rather be in a conference you can win year in year out, or be with a lot of the big boys?
Yeah, but I think that's a fair question. But I think too, from an athletic director's viewpoint, now of course they want to have their teams go out and compete, win championships like that. But at the end of the day, right, and we're gonna use the SEC and ACC again. You're the athletic director, Jack. I'll put you in the role, right, because you're going through that. You're the athletic director for University
AD
A,
Garcia.
University
right?
A, yeah, okay.
University A, and you have two options. You can be the big fish in the little pond, but make $20 million a year from your television rights contract, or you can go be a big fish with other big fish and you make 60 million a year. What are you taking?
Depends if my programs are relevant in their conference. So, like, say football is a ACC, we win ACC every year, and then in basketball and women's basketball and women's sports, we're terrible, we're last place. You're gonna have to
Okay.
do what you can. If I leave and my girls are getting embarrassed, it's gonna be harder to get girls to compete in that other conference if I can't even compete at the conference I'm in right now.
Okay, fair point. But now I guess there's
If I'm
different
the
ways you
top
can
dog, if
you
I'm the
can
top
impact.
dog, if my school is the top dog in one conference and I'm going to another conference and I got to compete with the other big dogs, and that's it might so okay. If that's one way to look at it, if all my sports are competitive and winning in every sport, and they're winning championships, ACC champs across the board, or Big 12 SEC champs across the board, and we leave for another conference, I'll say yeah. I would say yes. Let's go compete, go get another championship in the conference from the next door. But if we're not competing across the board in every sport, I can't see why I should leave if I'm my other sports aren't as competitive. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I get that, but as the athletic director, you have to, there's a lot of things you have to take into it. So one, the competitiveness. Yes, you don't want to go from being top dog and then next thing you know, you're getting your ass beat. Um, but at the same time, too, financially, it's hard to not take that. If that
No,
makes sense,
yeah,
not take that
definitely.
because then you can take that 40 million plus extra that you'll be making and reinvest it back into your program.
Yep, I agree
And
with that.
now your team's like, so like say if they do transition, they struggle. Well, now that influx of cash can help you with getting
Facilities,
better
yeah,
facilities,
yeah,
getting better coaches, and now you're in a bigger conference that more people
So,
want to go to. Now your recruiting can go up, and now your team could get. You'll be able to get kids that fit that conference, so you can compete better.
that's true
so,
too.
so I just looked this up because I was curious. Each team that was selected for the college football semifinal game receives $6 million per conference. like per team in that game. So the SEC has 2 teams, they get 12 million. Okay. Then if you get an additional 2.74 million if you get selected for the Cotton Fiesta Peach Bowl, right?
Mhm.
And you
but
get paid.
going, oh,
I'm
no,
sorry.
go ahead.
You get paid out like, what is it? It's like maybe if you make the championship game and you win it, it's like another like $2 or $3 million. So you're talking you can make an extra $8 to $10 million per conference for your conference for the conference. You know, by competing in those championship games.
Yeah.
I mean, my whole take on that would be if you are the top dog in a little pond, wouldn't you have every leverage to negotiate a contract? So like that 50 million that you would get, let's just say, so to speak, would be the SEC. Couldn't you negotiate that for the ACC? Like, hey, we're winning this incentive for our entire conference. Can't we put that money back into this program because we're already the top dog here? We're winning
But
money. So couldn't you, as like an AD in that department, find a way to be like, hey, let's negotiate so we can bring the talent that we already have here?
the Longhorn Network. That's what
That's what
Texas
happened.
did.
Yeah.
And it broke up the Big 12. That's what Texas did. Is that we're the biggest brand in this little pond. We're going to make a network for us and we're going to get paid. And it broke up the Big 12 because of that. But I get what you're saying, Adam, but that's the example of that is the Longhorn Network. And now it's being dissolved or next year it's being dissolved.
Yeah,
I only brought that up, seeming the fact that, I mean, they're basically saying we're going to leave a conference to make more money. Well, say you're winning your conference money, you're the top dog. Like the Texas hasn't gone to a national championship, so they're not even winning the Big 12 any money. So they're actually not even benefiting the Big 12. They're only benefiting themselves. As for Clemson, they are benefiting the conference because they're going to the college football playoff. So in that situation, it's kind of like, yeah, they're benefiting the conference as well as their own university. So
Right,
I
but
feel
the
like
thing-
you would
the
have
thing-
more of a leverage to
negotiate
a contract because you're not benefiting only your university, you're also benefiting the conference.
Now
Well,
you would think. Go ahead, please.
when was that TV deal signed for the ACC? 2016.
I think it was before that.
So that's the problem right now, Adam. It's like the ACC network, depending on when it was signed, right? Clemson might not have been relevant at the time, and now Clemson starts to get relevant. Now Clemson may be losing money being in that conference, but they're kind of tied up in those contracts.
Yeah, so that's the thing. That's the biggest thing for the ACC is that they signed that contract. They signed it for as long as they did, and they fucked themselves because at the time it was probably reasonable, but to what everybody else was doing. But since the others, because I don't think the SEC or the Big Ten, like some of those are new
2016.
networks that they have, or
2016.
2016.
Yep, they signed a 20-year freaking TV contract in
And I think
2016.
they were. I don't want to say
Dumbasses.
like they were the. I don't think they were the first one to do it, but they were doing it before the SEC and the Big Ten got into it. Kind of got into it. You know what I mean?
No.
Or were able to redo it.
I think the SEC network was like 2014.
Yeah, but they've recently like redone it. It wasn't. I don't think they signed it in 14 because
20 years. They didn't sign a 20-year deal.
right. That's the thing that screwed the ACC was that they signed their contract for so long, whereas the SEC and the Big Ten have it to where I don't know if it's
Every year they
structured
can
like every 5
restructure.
years or whatever.
It's like
But they can go to the table because I think it's but the ACC doesn't have that leverage to do that. Like even though Clemson's been their
bell
their
cow.
main thing, right? Their bell cow. Like Clemson can go to the table all they want and say like, hey, we've won you a national title. We've been giving ACC good exposure and help bring in this money that we have to share evenly with everybody. Blah blah blah. But the ACC doesn't have to go, and ESPN or whoever else, I think it's ESPN, they don't have to go to the table as well because they hold the advantage. unless the ACC institution, Clemson, decides that they're going to pay to get out. If that makes sense, because of the contract that they've.
So, sorry, I just saw this. The CBS game on it, the SEC, the 2 o'clock game is always the kind of the big one. In
Yeah.
2024, it's moving to ABC because the SEC network,
Disney.
they signed a deal with ESPN and they got out of that CBS deal and they signed a 10-year contract with Disney with ESPN to broadcast their 2 o'clock game, which is always their big game
Yeah.
on that afternoon slot.
So they're gonna have
So,
a 2 o'clock and the Saturday night football game.
ABC.
Yeah.
I know the 2 o'clock the 2:30 game
Yeah,
is
I know
moving
the
from
two.
CBS to ABC.
Yeah, because that was a big one. So now they're gonna have the 2:30 game and the 7:30 game.
I don't know. Oh yeah,
Mm.
because ABC always did the Saturday night football, right?
Yep.
Or the
Yep.
Saturday night
Their
game.
prime time. Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if that moves to ESPN, just ESPN in general.
Yeah.
Because now CBS is kind of like, oh, okay, now where do we go now? Because
Big
again,
Ten, baby.
like you said, Jack, it's Disney.
Mm-hmm.
Freaking Disney, freaking the mouse is owning everything.
Yep.
The damn mouse.
Damn mouse, baby. M-I-C-K-Y-M-O-U-S-E.
M-O-U-S-E. Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse.
Speaking of Mickey Mouse, we had a lot of fun on our trip.
Well
Did
said.
y'all? How was it, by the way?
It was good. The weather was pretty nice. It was about high 80s, low 90s.
Not 110.
So bad. Not 110. Now there were a couple of days when the wind wasn't blowing that it got a little hot, but Disneyland, the park was really cool. We went twice. We went 2 days. It was pretty cool. Having watching my little niece kind of experience all that was fun. She ate it up every time we saw the characters,
Yeah.
like the dressed up people.
Oh, I bet she was like,
She ate that
oh,
up.
that's
Like,
awesome.
every time she saw him, she would like run over and give him a hug and like try to sit on her lap or have them sit on the ground and just talk to him. And especially like the princesses and stuff. She's in that phase stuff now, but it was cool to see that and
her
all that stuff.
her eyes lighting up.
Yeah, and then my brother-in-law, he's a big Walt Disney fan, like the guy. So like seeing like Disneyland, the original, the OG, that
Yeah.
it was like my sister and I had to babysit 2 kids. The whole trip.
Because
I
your
love
niece is
it.
going your niece is going this way, your brother-in-law's going this way.
Yeah,
That's cool,
basically,
that's
you know what I
cool.
mean? So it was cool. And then our off day, we drove down to LA,
Oh,
which was kind of cool. We didn't do too much, but we went and stopped by the Hollywood sign and kind of saw it in person. So that was kind of cool. Now the thing is that like it's up a hill,
Yeah.
and the hills like to go up there, like they're like little windy roads and stuff like that. And then it gets to a point where it stops, and if you want to get closer, you have to like walk up there. You have to hike up there.
mhm.
Whatnot. So that's cool. And then we went to Hollywood Boulevard. We went to that Chinese movie theater where they usually do their premieres and stuff like that.
Okay.
Saw the handprints on the ground of the stars and all that kind of stuff. We saw the stars on the sidewalk for a little
Follow the Walk
bit.
of
Went
Fame,
and ate at
baby.
the Hard Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ate at Hard Rock. Now, there's tons of dude on there. Like I wish we could have stayed a little bit longer. I'm the type of person that I go somewhere and I see like a Ripley's Believe It or Not or a Madame Tussauds and I want to go.
What's a matter to
Like
so?
for some
Nerd,
reason,
man.
that's the wax
Yeah,
thing.
wax.
Like I want to go because
Oh,
for me
okay.
those places are cool to go see. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
they have tons of those, and of course we didn't
You
have enough time to go
you
do all
should have
that. So
gone
I
to
was,
the Comedy Store in LA since y'all were there. That's
yeah, like
that's like a world famous comedy club. Is the
yeah, I told her
store?
next time that we're gonna have to plan a couple days just for LA.
Yeah,
We
that's.
couldn't
I
do
don't
it
think
like
we
all the
need.
stuff.
Me and Hannah didn't go to L.A. We were disappointed, but we'll go one day.
I think
Did you
I
see
think if you properly plan it
Crypto.com?
out,
Dang it, boy! You didn't see Staples?
no, we like I said, we weren't there that long. Well, our morning of
Oh.
going there was a little rough because
Traffic?
the little one, well, not that much, but the little one got sick and she threw up on herself a couple of times on
Oh.
the way there. So that was fun dealing with that, and then what I mean? Like, we didn't really plan out the day. It was kind of more like, hey, we're gonna go there, there, and there, and it was kind of like off the hip stuff. So it was kind of like all over the place. And then we were like, all right, let's head back. And that's when we got stuck in traffic a little bit. It was on our way back to Anaheim, but it was good. We had a good.
Anaheim, baby.
It was
You
a
see
lot.
the giant A?
Yeah, we actually drove past the stadium at one point,
Yeah.
and then ironically, while we were in Anaheim, the Yankees were in town, and I told somebody about it. And then you go to the game. I'm like, no, I'm not fucking waiting. I think they got swept. They got swept by the Angels, I think. So I'm glad I didn't watch it.
You just be pissed
But I
off.
will say, yeah, I will say my favorite moment for me personally, going to the on that little trip was I know it's gonna be really nerdy of me, but was going to see the Star Wars land at Disney.
How was
Disney.
that, by the way?
Those are. I'm not a Star Wars fan, but Star Wars
Let me
Land is pretty
like
cool.
Did you
if
get
I
a
was
lightsaber?
no, I didn't get
You
line.
son of a bitch.
So here's the thing. So like growing up, my brother was like the biggest Star Wars fan and nerd that you could come across. My brother was. And I kind of was like a big fan of it too, but not as much as he was. But like if we had gone to the park and we were 10, 11, 12, we could have fucking died and that would have been our heaven. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it was it the and then of course you go there and it's just obviously you know it's a park, but you step there and you literally
Yeah.
feel like you are in that
Yeah.
universe. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They terrifically constructed and
See
designed
Yes.
the
stormtroopers.
shops. I told my sister like if I worked at Disneyland, I would want to work here
Even
because
the
everything
ride,
dressed up.
even the ride.
The ride
I'm
is awesome.
not a fan of Star Wars, but the Rise of the Resistance ride is probably one of the best rides
That
ever created.
thank you.
Did you?
My sister and I went on it. I'm telling you, like, please, I don't know if you've
You
ever
you
been
feel
theme
like
park
you
I,
actually
right?
I've
feel like you're
I've been
Star
to
Wars.
theme
You actually
parks.
feel
Yeah.
like you're in it.
It is the best, and I don't want to like spoil it for you just in case you ever go one day. But
Mhm.
I'm telling you, just like Jack said, it is the best fucking ride I've ever been
Yeah.
on
It-
because of the experience it puts you
it's
through.
like it has all the like Disney has all these like different old school roller
It's
coasters. It
telling
has
a
the
story,
visuals.
right?
Yeah, it has it's storytelling now, but it has the visuals.
Mhm,
It has like the actual like you're riding a ride. It has the
mhm.
visuals like, but it's not. It has the visuals of you actually doing it, and even the cars move in certain ways,
Yes,
and it makes you feel like you're actually one of the Star Wars characters for that 2-3 minutes. You're actually in this ride,
yes,
and it's to me. I'm not a Star Wars fan. Don't get me wrong, but even Hannah was impressed with this ride, and
it was great.
it's like okay, you're just like this. I'm glad I rode this ride. Like I was pumped
Did
at the
you
end
see
of
a
it.
stormtrooper?
Yes, you walk in a room and there's about 100 of them.
Do you see
Yes, you see
stormtrooper
Stormtrooper, and
Josh
even you see
walking around the park?
Yes.
you even see the bad guy with the lightsaber
So,
that goes through.
yeah. Do you mind, Cletus? Do you mind if I kind
No,
of
go for it.
explain some of the
I
ride?
don't care. I don't
Okay,
care.
so when you first begin the ride, you know you're part of the resistance or whatever,
Yeah,
right? And so you're trying to leave. Well, you get caught by the bad guy, right? And you're trying to play it off as whatever, whatever. Well, so when you first get into the ride, you're getting into like a ship, and it's like the good guy ship, right? Well, then in the like while you're in there, you get basically you get confiscated by the bad guys, right? The Empire. Well, then you come in one door, where you open the other door, and you're inside one of the Empire ship. No, it's not well, it's the First Order or
yeah,
the
yeah,
Mhm.
First
Yeah,
Order.
yeah,
first
The
order.
First Order, the First Order ship. So like you walk out, and it's like from I don't know. I'm sure if you've seen the movies where they have it when they're in the hangar and they got the little plasma screen and
Mhm.
you can see space on the other side. It's that room, and you just see there's two lines of stormtroopers,
Did,
and the guy and the people working are dressed up
mhm.
and they're serious and they're not really assholes, but you know what I mean,
yeah.
they're strict about it. And you walk out
Did y'all
and
go
they're leading
fast
you to an
pass?
yeah, and they'd
Got to.
they lead you into an interrogation
Yeah.
room, and they have the Kylo Ren guy, like they have a little like a video that shows, and then you hear some noise, and then they break you out of the interrogation room, and then you get put in this little, and then you get put into the ride part of it,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and it's a little droid. He's driving you all over the place, and of course, it's just like, "Blah, blah, blah, blah,"
Yeah.
and it's like taking you the wrong way, and it literally takes you through the whole ship. Like you see different
You see the
parts, you get
giant,
shot at
the
different
thing was
things.
like the giant things that walk.
Yeah, the AT stuff. That's Star Wars nerd coming out.
At that.
Um,
At that.
and it just takes you around different parts of the
Mhm.
ship, and Kylo Ren tries to come at you, and then you get it's
It's
great.
cool.
I got a video of it. I'll send
There's
it
a
to you.
little drop in it too that scares you.
Yeah, I got the video of the ride. I'll send it to you.
That's awesome.
It's an awesome ride though.
Yeah.
Definitely
Great.
up there.
Never been to Disney. That is a bucket list. I want to go to Disney. Never
Yeah.
been.
Well, for the DBAB podcast, we should plan a trip. Right?
I need to lose
It's the
some.
boys.
I need to
The
lose.
boys
I need
trip.
before. I need to lose some lbs so I can ride the ride. So I'm
A
not just the fat
boys
guy.
trip to Disney World or Disneyland.
Let's
Hannah would
go.
be mad if I did that without her. 'Cause she's a Disney fanatic. But yes.
Yeah.
Hey, next summer, write it down.
Yeah.
We're
That.
going.
Ooh, yeah.
Uh, all right, fellas. We've had a great episode tonight, as always. Talking about baseball, talking about college football, and all the changes we're seeing there. So even having the ending the night talking about a little bit of Disney
Happiest
and
place on
Star
earth,
Wars,
baby.
happiest place on earth, and a place where you'll spend a lot of fucking money.
Oh, I bet.
But it was all great. I mean, my little niece, she got spoiled as hell, so we had a great time. But anyways, gentlemen, it's always great to have you guys here, um, and to always see y'all and chat and catch up. Cletus, I wish you all the best, and Roosevelt as y'all get going. And good luck when school starts and when y'all have y'all scrimmages going next week.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Same for you, Jack and Terrell, with those Tigers. Adam, always in the world of logistics. Thank you for what you do, sir. You're being the light every day for people, literally, and I don't mean that in any type of way. And of course, to our viewers, obviously Cody is not here. Mr. Cobbs, he and his wife uh, are expecting very soon, so we wish them nothing but the best. We hope that
Little
little Cobbs
Kinsey.
is coming as a beautiful, healthy baby. We're all super excited. So for the Cobbs family, again, we wish you nothing but the best. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another great episode of the DBAB podcast.
Remember, be the light.